Hello guys and welcome back to our second video on Sui blockchain. So in the first video I made, I walked us through how we could install Sui on Windows operating system, particularly using Chocolate and then the new packet manager that also comes with Sui. And in this second video, I will be walking us through how we set up our first project and run our hello world. With that being said, let's get right into it. So I have a folder called Sui project where I intend to be keeping all my Sui projects that I will be working on. I will open my terminal right in from this folder, zoom in a little bit so you could see what we have here on screen. And then first command to run is Sui Move, of course, new. That's what we use to create a new project. And after the new, you have to specify the name of the project that we want to create. So let's say first project. This is a little bit long, but I think this is okay. So this is going to create a Sui project for us. Right here in my folder, you can see we have a first project. If we open inside, there is another folder, source, with one file inside. Then we have test with another file inside. We have git ignore and we have move.toml file. And right in my terminal, I would change directory to the Sui project we just created by doing cd first project, right? And you would see we are inside of our Sui project. I want to open it in my VS Code where I would be writing the practical. So this is going to open up this project in my VS Code. So a quick one on some of the folder structures that we have right in here. The source folder is where you're going to be writing your source code, okay, your Sui blockchain program. The test is where you're going to be writing your test to ensure that all the code you've written in your sources are correct and working. The git ignore file helps you, of course, to ignore certain files so that you don't end up sending or pushing sensitive files or documents into your GitHub repo when you're pushing them online. And finally, we have the Move.toml file, which is like your package manager if you're using some of those JavaScript framework. It helps you to keep track of some of the dependencies you would use in your project, the packages you're using. And one important thing is the address, which we are going to talk about in subsequent videos. But keep in mind that this file carries information about your project, the name of the project, the version of the project, the author, the license. You could add all of this if there are. But for now, we are not going to touch anything right in here. And we'll go straight up to write our first program in Move Sui. So let me just clear the air. We have Move as a standalone programming language, which is used by actors. I hope I get the name right. Then we also have Sui Move, that's Move being used in Sui blockchain. Some of the syntax are not like exactly the same, right? But most of the parts are the same. So you could actually learn Move outside of Sui, and you could still learn Move inside of Sui. That's by the way. So let's go straight up and start writing our code. First, we have to create a module. Now, a module is just a complete file that is going to carry some code inside of it. Just see a module as a single file that's going to carry code inside of it. Now, for every module you are creating, you have to give a name to that module, and it also has to carry the parent name of the project. It's more like a namespace, right, to tell where this module belongs or where it's coming from. So we're going to do module. We use this, this is a keyword, like a reserved word that is in Sui Move, which we use when we want to create a module. So keep that in mind. We're also going to see more keywords in the future, but for now, we are good to go with this one. The next is the name of the project, which is first project, yeah. And then the name of the module, well, I'm not going to call it first project still. I might just say our first module, yeah, something like that. First module. So there is no, I don't want to use any particular naming convention for variables like the snake casing or the camel casing. I've used programming languages that use the snake casing as well as the camel casing. So sometimes it's a little bit difficult for me to stay with one, but however it is, we are going to talk about naming variables subsequently. So we have our module. We are going to be using some component here. So I'm going to use std. That's like the standard library. Inside, we want to use the string. Yeah, string. We are going to use this. String is like a data type that we're going to use when we want to declare a string, a message that will be printed out. We also want to use from the standard library. We want to use debug. The debug carries some utility functions that will allow us to like print something on screen. We are going to take our time to explain all of these things one after the other. So now I'm going to define a function. You could see a function as a unit, a collection of certain lines of code that are aimed at performing a particular task, some group of tasks, right? At the end, the function is aimed at solving a particular problem. So we are going to define one function. It is public, which means it could be accessed outside of this module. Fun, F-U-N, is a reserved word also built into Sui Move, which you use to define a function. And then next is the function name. I will just say hello world because this is our first program. We want to print out the hello world. The function is not taking any parameter, so it's going to be empty. And then we define its scope using this opening and closing braces. So first, we are going to define the message we want to print. So we'll say let. Let is also a reserved word that allows us to define a variable. You might be hearing variable for the first time in data type for the first time. Let's say you don't have any programming experience. Stay with me. In subsequent videos, I would be explaining data types and variables in more detail. But for now, we're trying to create a variable, which is just like a storage place. And then it is going to be equal to string because that's the data type that we want to use. And also the encoding is UTF-8, which is the like most used options when we want to encode text. And the little message we want to send is hello move. Well, instead of move, I would just say hello Sui Move, since we are mostly going the Sui direction. We have defined our message, then we can go ahead and print it using a print function that is found in the debug module. So we are going to print message, and we have that name of this variable here, and simply means this message is not mutable. We are not changing anything. So we have successfully defined our function. Yeah, anything missing? No, everything is good. Now, after we have done this, I'm going to save the file. The next thing we are supposed to do in any language is to run this program. But in Sui Move, there are two things we could do. First is to compile the program, right? Which means like publishing the program. And this is going to go to the testnet, yeah? But this, we don't want to do this right now. We just want to run and see if this program is running. So on normal Move, you could like use a sandbox to just run the program and see the result. But when you're working with Sui Move, you have two options. You either publish to testnet, or you can write a test which is going to be executed to confirm if your program is going to run. So let's try and see if this is going to work. So for us to run this, we can just do Sui Move build. This is not going to run the code. It is only going to compile it. And if there are any errors, it's going to notify us. I don't have the best of systems, but then we should be able to get this running. So it says invalid code unit, expected address or module. Okay, got semicolon. So the error as gotten right in here was caused simply because we have a semicolon where it's not supposed to be. Now, for some reason, the VS Code seems to highlight it red that that semicolon is needed, but then it's not supposed to be there. Okay, just in case you have that same problem, remove that semicolon and go ahead and build. You would not get any error, which means your program has been built successfully. But then we cannot run this, yeah, except we are pushing to testnet, and we're not doing that right now. So a way for us to find out that this program is actually working correctly is for us to write a test. A test is you trying to write validations to check if the functions you've written are all working properly. And you write that inside of the test folder. We already have one file created for us by default, which is like first project underscore test. And that's where we are going to be writing our test. I could just uncomment and use part of this ones. But for now, I would simply write the test myself. We are creating a module. The test is a module itself. And then we need the name of the package, which is first project, yes, or the name of the project, so to say. Then the name we are going to call our test, well, let's say first module test. I'm going to call it first module test, and then yeah, first module test. This autocomplete keeps on coming up and it's distracting what I am doing. Inside, I'm going to tell it to use first project. Is there no way I could disable this? First module, yeah. We want it to use the first module. Now, what does this mean? We are telling it that we want to use this module right in here, first module. That's the name of the module, and that's what we want to use. So we are telling it, okay, please be informed that we're going to use first module right into our function. We don't need to import any other thing. You have to add this signature test to define where your test functions are going to start. So I'm going to define fun. I want to test my hello world. Test hello world. Now inside, what I will just be doing is running first module, right? And then the function inside. Remember, in our first module here, we have a function called hello world. So we are saying go into the first module and run the function hello world. Remember, we've already told it we want to use the first module right at the top here. So we'll save this. I think we have our test all good to go. We have one curly bracket missing. That should work. So you go back to your command prompt. This time around, you are not running Sui Move build. Instead, you're running Sui Move and then running test. So this is going to try to execute all the functions or the tests you've written here. And if there is any error, you're going to get the error here. If there is no error, you're going to see that it has run our program successfully and we got hello Sui Move. Test result was okay. Total test run was 1. Total test pass 1. Test fail 0. And congratulations, if you've gotten to this point, you have successfully written your first program in Sui Move. Let me know if you have questions in the comment section, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.